WNST. Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We're positively doing Baltimore Positive Maryland Crab Cake Tour activity. It's all brought to you by our friends at the Maryland Lottery. Letting myself play along with the Ravens here. We're scratching off. We had a $100 winner here on the 50th anniversary a couple weeks ago. Also, our friends at Win Donation. I had the wacky hat on with Max Weiss. I like to wear the wacky hat. It's kind of like the Oreo floppy hat, so got a little bit of that going on. 866-90Nation. And our newest sponsor at Jiffy Lube. I'm going to be talking about oil changes. I had mine changed at Merritt Boulevard 2 weeks ago. Football season is here. Baseball season is here. And crab cake season is here. I got two people that I've never really talked to them because they're too busy working. I'm at Koco's, part of the Maryland Crab Cake Tour, and I've had the coconut shrimp. I've had a cup of cream of crab soup. Usually, it's SeaBass doing something for me up at the bar here. I got a burger a couple weeks ago because I'm trying to eat the non-crab cake. Everybody knows about the crab cakes here. And Liz is the one usually when you see either her or I'm looking at Marcella right now under the Koco's parrot, one of many parrots here, you're making crab cakes here. Yeah. I didn't know you were related. Like, this is all new to me. This is news.
It's nothing I openly admit.
Well, I see we've already got sibling problems here.
Always.
Right. Well, I mean, I see. I don't know. I come often enough the last couple of weeks. One of you is always here, if not both of you. But I didn't know you were related.
Yep.
I talked to Liz a couple weeks ago because I didn't grow up in the neighborhood, but I spent weekends here most of my childhood. My uncle, Nelson, Venezuelan uncle, lived on Tyndale, right around the corner, right by Resig, off of Eastwood. I dated a girl that lived in Iona up the street for 5 years, so I was in the neighborhood a lot when O'Malley was the mayor and the cops were out in front of his place. And, you know, from a neighborhood perspective, I call it Berkshire or Lauraville and Beverly Hills. There's all the names of these little neighborhoods. And you said you're from
Mayfield.
Mayfield.
So we're across the bridge past the church.
So, I mean, I think of Montebello on the one side, right? And I think of like where Peppers was a million years ago. See, I'm getting you older. Where La Fontaine Rouge was on Bel Air Road. Does that mean anything? Where the park is, where Herring Run, where the big hill is.
So we grew up originally at Bel Air Edison. We're at Chesterfield.
Bel Air Edison.
Chesterfield.
Little Flower.
Yeah, and Bel Air Road.
There we go. Okay,
so
that's
that was
Mayfield.
No, that's not Mayfield. So we're down the street. If you go all the way across Chesterfield to Hartford Road, Mayfield is the back area of that.
Okay.
Tucks in between Clifton Park and Chesterfield.
Montebello.
Sort of, yeah.
So if you were to go
I just
down,
never heard Mayfield, right? If I said Colgate to you, you wouldn't know what that is. But if I said East Point Mall, you'd be like, oh. Or
Right.
Dundalk. I mean, neighborhood names. When you said Mayfield, I'm like, I need to learn where Mayfield is. And now you got a brother. I guess he's from there, too.
Something, yeah.
something like that, yeah.
My mom's kid.
Well, city kids, right? And you guys, how long you been working here? A long time, two of you, right?
11 years for me.
I've been in here about 9-10 years myself.
Do you have any memory of this being anything other than Koco's? Because you're a little younger than me. I was born in 68. I mean, this place is born in 85. It says so right on the shirt, right? So was this ever any other thing in your mind?
Never.
Well, like, I didn't even know this place existed until Liz started working here. We actually have another sister of ours that actually introduced us to this place initially. The first thing I ever did was I went up to the bar, watched an Oriole game with this sister of mine, got an order of crab dip. Clearly, that's a fantastic appetizer option. But we just did that. We shared that. And it wasn't until she got Liz starting to work here, and I was looking for another job opportunity. So a couple years after that, then I was introduced as a potential opportunity to work here as well. And ever since that happened, I kind of just been
So he is sort of our server and sort of our graphic designer here.
Well, I mean, we got the ad on the website because of you, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that your parrot? It's a stock parrot.
No. So, like, it is my parrot. Like, there's so many different variations of the parrot, and I use different ones depending on what the situation calls for. So some of them are going to be a little more specific and highly detailed. Others are going to be a little more generalized and less complicated.
They all remind me of Jimmy Buffett.
Well, that's not a credit to me. That's a credit to the place.
Fins to the left and right. Cheeseburger in paradise. I had that here. Liz, for the crab cakes and you making them sort of out in the middle of the air, because it's such a small place, right? Like, just going to the bathroom, I love being small, just because I barely fit through the door in here. It's a good thing I'm a friendly person, too. They wouldn't let me in here. It says that on the door. It's the only place I've ever been where that, be nice or get out. I like that.
And sometimes people listen, sometimes they don't.
Are you the heavy?
No.
You're too busy making crab cakes. 11-ounce crab cakes. I see you making these things. And, I mean, if you've never been to Koco's, there's literally a cooler in the middle of the dining room that has all the crab cakes in it. It's like a lot of places you go, they have wine, cooler and all that. No wine. It's a crab cake cooler you have here. Is there ever a point where you're not making crab cakes? Because, I mean, it feels like there's 10 hours a day of creation of crab cakes here.
It's a long day and split generally between the three of us. If I'm not back there, I'm back in the kitchen. So that's
how do you know how many to make?
Week by week, we kind of go based on, it's usually the same number. We pick up heavier on the weekends, so we'll do more on Fridays and Saturdays. We build into the weekends and stuff like that. So it's just knowledge now.
Well, people come in and they order crab cakes here. I mean, every time I'm here, I'm looking at tables. Has there ever been a table where people, like 4 or 6 people, and they don't get a crab cake?
We had a burger special a few months back, and it was sort of based off of a quesadilla burger is what we called it. Entire table came in and got quesadilla burgers. So it is cool. We do have a really good menu. Our chef creations are phenomenal. It's hard to push because people come in for the crab cakes, and you don't want to deter them from getting their crab cake. But
you don't say, don't get the crab cake.
Of course not.
Right? Yeah.
We do, have our servers try to push the specials.
But people get in their car and they drive over here. Like Roz is here from Maryland Lottery. She ain't not getting a crab cake. And sometimes, like, I got into this, and part of the crab cake tour the last 5 years, and part of me is just getting older, and, like, I talked about Ekabin in the last thing. I got to get some other things off the menu. But when you go and you have a thing, wherever your thing is, that's what you get. And especially when you're known for it, and people make that travel. But I love the coconut shrimp here. I love the burger I got. And when I did the show with the mayor here like 3 years ago, we did it the other direction. We had our masks on. Marcella and I became friends on Facebook, and she's always putting stuff up, like a special, and it never has anything to do with a crab cake. Like, it's always some pork barbecue. It's always something seasonal and different. And I'm like, man, they have like a lot going on over there. And I didn't know that about your restaurant.
So it's not we advertise it more consistently now over the past 3 years. Eric and I have been back in the kitchen now for 10 years. It's in big part for us to do something different, to practice methods and creativity and kind of build up a portfolio for ourselves, and they really are amazing specials. We put a lot of effort, time, care into them. So if you were
and they
not
sell out
often.
I came in for a cheeseburger in Paradise last week and had to settle for a cheeseburger. I mean, not that Koco's is in Paradise, but but I had to get the regular burger.
And it's sold out fast. I'm surprised that the Nashville hot chicken that we have up right now isn't off the shelves. It is.
I was going to get it. It's a little too spicy for
Outstanding.
me. It's spicy.
I'm kind of a wuss, so if I can enjoy
Oh,
it,
really?
then yeah. Oh no, I don't have a big tolerance for heat.
See, once it says Nashville chicken, I'm because that can go that can go bad for me.
Well, it's Nashville
especially
hot
tomorrow
chicken.
morning. And I'm just saying, I don't need all that. I don't need that kind of pressure.
But it's Nashville hot chicken, but it's in Baltimore. So if you went to Nashville and actually ordered it there, you better believe it's probably gonna be spicier. I mean, every now and then we've run a gumbo or some sort of like that is correct.
I love
right?
gumbo.
We do shrimp and grits, gumbo.
Fantastic.
Our shrimp and grits, if you have the opportunity to get them.
I thought I was getting a crab cake. I thought I was getting a coconut shrimp. That's what I mean. Like, there's things on this menu, like the imported baby back. I just don't think I'm going to get there. I almost got the fish and chips a couple weeks ago. I made fun of the salmon BLT and said, who gets that? And Sig's like, my wife gets it all the time. And I'm like, okay, but I don't get to that.
I mean, I've got customers that they will all, like regulars, there's this one couple, absolutely fantastic. They come in almost like once a week, sometimes twice, once every 2 weeks, and they always get the salmon. One gets it with the salmon Greek salad, and the other gets a salmon BLT.
That's all they get.
All right. Well, I just want to let people know that there's more going on at Koco's than just the crab cake. Yes, it's good. It's delicious. It's large. The size of it, the 11-ounce thing, anything you want to say about that? Because Marcella's mother, just the way she made it, right?
Uh-huh.
That's basically it.
It's as much as she could fit into her hands and mold.
Never 12, never 10, always 11.
We measure everyone now, but
Well,
this
11.
show I can't
Listen,
speak of
my last name's Aparicio, right? So I bought my Oriole jersey for the year. It's been I lost my jersey sometime during my move when they were losing 120 games, and I was off the bandwagon that I've been on for 40 years, 50 years. Sorry. I'm looking for my jersey a month ago. Can't find it. It's white, stitched up, beautiful. I've had it since 1992, so I've had it 33 years. I got it, and I was 25, and I was pretty sexy and skinny. It fit me, I put it on, fit like this, and then I started gaining weight, and it started and then I lost weight in 06. Now it fits again. I lost like 30 pounds in 2006, and stuff started fitting me. So I've been wearing it. We haven't won anything, and I couldn't find it. So I went out on the internet because I collect these crazy rock and roll belt buckles, and I thought, all right, I'm gonna look for an Oriole jersey. So I put Luis Aparicio Orioles jersey. All these White Sox jerseys popped up, Red Sox, really weird stuff. And then there was this beautiful orange 1979 Oriole logo. So it's a 79 jersey. Doesn't look like what they wear on Saturday night here with the script. It's a little different. It's the 79 Orioles, my team. On the back, it's Aparicio 11. Louis played here. My cousin is a Hall of Fame baseball player for the Orioles. Played here 63 to 67. So all the Oriole pictures with Louis are of that era. They're gray. They say Baltimore. They're block letters. You're an artist, right? So you appreciate the vibe. And I had Todd Radom on. You know Todd, right? I had Todd on this week talking about jerseys and the bad luck of the City Connect jerseys and the art and all that stuff. Ooh. So I see the 79 jersey, and that's my team. And to see my name and Louis' name and number 11 on the back of it, it kind of took, because the piping on it was the 79 art. And I'm like, I've never seen that. Like, I didn't even know such a thing. And it was my size. And I looked at it. Guy won $189. And I'm like, I'm from Dundalk. So I held out. And then finally my son came over a couple weeks ago. And he's like, you ever get that jersey? I'm like, no, I'm too cheap. He's like, just offer him $99. He'll take it. So I offered him $99, and 15 minutes later I had a sale. And when it came in the mail, this would speak to my Oriole, because I know you're a big Oriole fan too. It came in the mail, and my wife, we get belt buckles all the time, and she thinks I'm wearing my Baltimore Colts belt buckle today from my childhood, right? Because it's Colts week here. And because in this neighborhood, I think of 33rd Street, like always, because I used to walk from Rasig's house and my Uncle Nelson. So the jersey comes, and my wife knows what it is. It's in a little plastic wrap. She literally said, it's here. And she sat down, and she went like this. She's like, I want to see it. And I'm like, oh, man, it's a lot of pressure, So I took it out, and it fit me, and I put it on, and I looked in the mirror, and I'm like, that looks great. It's a serious jersey, right? So I wore it for the first time last Thursday. I got it last Monday, and I wore it on Thursday. It's the first time I've had anything Orioles on in a while because, I didn't have my jersey, right? And I wore it down the stadium, and everywhere I went, people were coming up, yelling at me about my cousin, about the jersey, me, my hair, whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the best $99 plus shipping that I have spent on anything in a long time. And it's because it says Orioles on it, right? It's because we have this vibe going right now.
Absolutely.
The games matter. You're excited. You're a young guy, man. You don't know anything about.
Man, you're giving me chills talking about it. All right, I'm just sort of enjoying the chills on my arm. No, they've been absolutely fantastic to watch. So you said you last wore it on Thursday. I think we lost that game.
I wore it Friday. We lost that game. I'm not wearing it anymore, but it looks good. I didn't wear it. I wore it Thursday and Friday, and we lost. And I came home. I was feeling really bad about it. I'm like, I'm 0-2 in this thread, man. This isn't good. These are big games.
I went to the game on Sunday. And that was unreal. That was the one where it was back and forth, and we won in extra innings. And I'm telling you what, I don't think I've ever seen such an amazing vibe and the mood around the stadium. Every fan was just electric. I mean, by the time the game was over, I've never seen a celebration like this since I went to a playoff game in 2014 against the Tigers.
You were at the Delman Young game?
No, I was not at the Dome. Oh,
okay.
That would have been fantastic,
You won
too.
before. Okay.
Yeah, I was at one of the earlier games in that series. But just going on Sunday, it was just absolutely phenomenal. And we've got all these young players. And even if we don't win the World Series, that's going to be what it is.
Don't talk like that.
No.
I'm stopping that.
No, hold on.
Stop. Oh, that's it.
All right, I've said
we're not going to talk about not winning. If we just get to the World Series, it's good. I'm putting an end to that right now.
Let me restate that. I've been saying
we
that
started
we're
that
going
in the
to World
last segment.
If
they just get to the World Series, it'll be good enough. No, it won't be.
Hold up, just in case.
If we lose,
no, don't.
No family violence. No family violence.
Okay, so I've been saying to my wife since June, we're going to the World Series. I've been saying that since June. And then Monday night comes and we're down by 2 runs and got 2 runners on base. Mullins comes up to the plate. My wife is falling asleep on the chair.
It was late.
And she says, if he hits a 3-run home run, we're going to the World Series. And what do you know? It happens. And I am, again, it's late, and I'm still yelling. I'm pretty sure the neighbors were probably ready to call 911 because they're like, oh, my gosh, there's so much shouting coming from that house. We were just so pumped, so excited, and she couldn't fall asleep for another hour just because she was still riding that adrenaline high, and that has been constant.
The West Coast games were killing me a couple weeks ago. We got to the West Coast. But so this ride we're about to go on, right, because we're a week out on playoffs here as this is going to run next week. And tickets are on sale. I was checking it out, and I haven't dived into $250 tickets yet. I'm figuring all this out. Luke and I are going to travel next month because the Ravens threw me out. I have flights booked. I have flights held. And this, I shouldn't even admit this. I have flights held to Tampa, to Dallas, and it's going to be harder to go there. Because the seeding, do you know about the seeding? They don't reseed. So these baseball playoff systems, it's different than it ever used to be. And I'm not accustomed to it because we haven't been a part of it. I literally had to look this up 2 days ago when I held flights to say, all right, so let's pretend we're the 1 seed, and we are going to be the 1 seed. We're going to have the 3 days off. The 2 and the 1 get 3 days off. So that would be us and, let's say, Houston or whoever wins the West. Mm-hmm. 3 plays 6. The 3-6 winner has to play 2. We will play the 4-5 winner, which is problematic because the 4 is going to be Tampa. Tampa's going to be the best team, but they're going to be the 4 seed. And I'm thinking to myself, well, why do we get them? If they clean the clocks with Toronto for 2 games and it's over with real quick, why do we get Tampa? Why wouldn't we get the 6 seed? And here's the reason. They felt like it would be unfair to have the 1 seed play a division winner. The division winner thing holds weight over the wild card, right? As it should. So we cannot play the 6 seed. So I thought we could play Dallas or go to Dallas or Seattle, whoever sneaks in there, if they were to beat the 3 seed, which would be Minnesota, which isn't all that far-fetched. I think Minnesota could lose a 3-game series, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That's why you don't want to be the 3 seed, right? So we can only play the 4-5. So the 4 is definitely Tampa, and whoever they play, you'd think they're going to win or beat them. So it looks like we would play Tampa. And we can't play, as an example, we can't play. Well, we could if if Texas became the 5 seed and beat the 4 seed, we can play the 5 seed. But it looks like that would be Toronto.
Yeah, it doesn't look super likely, no.
Well, we're getting close enough now that you can start to piece it together. So I held flights for the first time ever for playoff baseball. And the weirdest thing is, this is, and I told John Martin this from the Maryland Lottery, we do these crazy crab cake tours. I try to do them every week. I try to work with the restaurant based on time. And like at Faithley's, we do in the morning because they're too crowded. You guys, I want to do 2 to 5. Sometimes I do Friday. Sometimes I do Thursday. Sometimes there's a concert and I can't do Friday or something like that. The next couple weeks, I can't really plan it. I had the governor's people call me 2 days ago, and they're like, hey, governor wants to get a crab cake with you in October. I'm like, well, he's going to have to wait till November because I'm not booking. The last thing I want to do is have to call and cancel because the game rains last night, and now game 3 is at 2 in the afternoon because the city's going to shut down whenever they play, right?
With any luck. I mean, that'd be great for the Baltimore City economy.
The city's going to shut down when they play. And as they play more important games, if they win the first series, which they will, they get in the ALCS, the momentum of winning will lead to what you haven't experienced yet because you're young. Well, you have with the Ravens, right?
Yeah.
You're not a football fan.
I am a football fan, but for me, football season is only just starting right now. I mean, when they won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, that was surreal. Never experienced that since 2000.
Well, it's more of a train wreck. They play once a week, right? So, like with baseball, these things are happening every day.
And it's been a lot longer wait. All right.
Oh yeah,
like
and a
that-
lot
that's-
more games of awfulness than the Ravens stink for a year. It's a couple weekends. Orioles stink for a year. It's 162.
Well, I mean, I remember back in the day, I would be like, all right, well, the Oriole game is on. Do I want to watch it? No, I'd rather just play a video game. All right, but nowadays, it's like I want to watch every single game. I'm that invested in this team. And
Who's your guy? You get one jersey. What do you get?
so if I had the choice and it wasn't just a gift that somebody was like, hey, I got you a Rutschman. I got a Rutschman for Secret Santa last year. But quite honestly, I'm a big Hayes fan.
Okay.
Hayes is outstanding. I mean, when they had a walk-off run the other day, he came in with the Gatorade tank and dumped it on everybody, and he just was shouting and yelling, and he just looked super comical. But he's been there so long, and he's really had to fight through a lot of injuries and tough times.
He's made some great plays, had some big home
Outstanding
runs.
in the outfield. I love watching him.
So Gary Renicky was my guy on the 79 Orioles. So when I'm looking at these jerseys, I'm looking at the Aparicio. The Renicky was only like 129. I'm like, I'm not getting the Renicky. I'm going to get an Aparicio. I'm going to get, it's like, I want that jersey. But the Renicky, man, that 35 and that 1979, and it was one of those modern ones that breathes.
Yeah.
The one that I bought for $100, it's 25. It's polyester thick. It's legitimate. Yeah. I mean, I put it in the washing machine. No problem. I wasn't worried about it falling apart. I was like, this thing is sturdy.
Right.
It was made last century. It has that vibe to it. But the Renicky jersey, Renicky was my guy on the 79 team. I was never like, I don't say I wasn't a Cal or an Eddie guy. I was. But I always was more like a Brady Anderson fan or more of like a fan of Koco Garcia. I liked Tom Chopay when I was a kid. Didn't have to be the star player. That's why I ask you who your favorite Orioles, because like, if you're watching them every night, you could say it's Gunnar Henderson or Rutschman, but if you watch him every night, there's a chance you're going to fall in love with
there's a star every
Santander.
game.
There is, just like the song
Very
says.
literally.
Yeah.
Oh, man, there's the chills again.
Something magic happens. Well, we're Koco's. I was kidding you guys. I looked at the coconut fried shrimp spelled with a K, and I'm like, like the editor in me wanted to change, and I'm like, oh, we're at Koco's with a K. Don't just get the crab. I mean, get the crab cakes, but don't just get the crab cakes. And you guys are always big on ordering ahead. You do a lot of curbside.
We do.
You don't have the biggest place here, so it's like when Marcelo's like, "Don't tell everybody to come and watch the games here. We don't have room for everybody." But this is a neighborhood bar. I mean, at one point I had a pool table in here, right?
Yeah.
But from a spatial standpoint, a lot of people come by and they curbside dinner and order ahead, and then you guys ship crab cakes. You're doing as much shipping here as you're doing anything. There's a lot of different ways people can enjoy this without bellying up to the bar, so to speak, right?
Yeah, different experience, but same great food. It's always hot.
Well,
Always
Marcella
delicious.
gave me a little primer on cooking them at home. You send them home raw, or are they half, or what are? Well, the
Raw.
crab's already cooked, right?
The crabs are cooked, but yeah, it's the raw form of the crab cake.
How do you prefer people to do it when they get a crab cake? Is it broiled? Is that?
We broil them. We broil them here. It's the easiest thing. We get a lot of questions now about air frying.
And?
I don't own an air fryer.
Like you could do it. Like
You
I mean,
could.
I've heard people talking about doing it on a grill, and I'm like, I mean, yeah, I guess
There's
so.
lots of ways to cook a crab cake, but we broil it here, and it's most consistent, at least for our purposes.
So for the people that make beautiful crab cakes, and I don't say yours are beautiful, they're big softballs, but people that make these delicate crab cakes and stuff, they give them to me in a box, take it home. I say, you don't want to see what I'm going to do to that thing. Because I'm a fried guy. I'm
Okay.
from Dundalk, right? And I know if there's not like enough binder in it, it'll just disintegrate into the pan, and then it just becomes fried crab. It becomes an Asian dish. You eat it with chopsticks, It just disappears.
Yeah.
But for me with crab cakes, like I grew up poor, so I grew up special meat in Dundalk, and my mom, we were happy. Any crab meat my mom got was, it didn't have to be jumbo anything or lump or any of that, but she made little fried hockey pucks and little fried crab cakes, just like they made in Memorial Stadium in a press box. And so I will fry it. If you're sending me home with a crab, because my wife hadn't had your crab cake yet. It's true. My wife has not had your crab cake yet. So when she came in, here's what she said: "The crab cake's too big. I can't order that. It's too big." That's what she said. She wasn't that hungry that she got a cheeseburger instead. So I'm taking the crab cake home, and if I had my way, you'd hate me. I mean, I'd flatten that thing, and it'd be like a pancake, and I'd fry it up.
So we don't fry them, but we do get special orders for well-done smashed crab cakes. So we'll smash it, throw it in the oven
So
extra
you're
long.
not
That's the
Gucci.
closest.
See Lauraville. They call them artists down here, but they're open-minded. So you're not Gucci.
We'll do
Some
what we
people are
can.
Gucci. They're like, no, we broil our crab cakes. Our crab cakes are only broiled. We don't do any of that. And then other places are like, no, we fry the hell out of them. And I'm like, all right, good.
And we'll do what we can. We're so small that we can only accommodate so many special requests, but that is a pretty common one. The closest we can get to frying a crab cake, I guess.
I don't know that I've had more crab cakes than anybody, but I've had more than anybody recently. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just say
Yeah.
in the last 3 years, I've been all over the state. I've been on back roads on the Eastern Shore, back roads in Southern Maryland, been to places where the internet doesn't work, all sorts. I've done crazy stuff with crab cakes. And every single one is different. Every one of them is different. And when I have conversations, not with, like, young people like you, but with, like, older people that are chefs that have their thing about it. I had Andrew Zimmern on the show at the Super Bowl, like 5 years ago. And he thinks he knows everything, right? And we're friends. We're good. And he said, and there's a guy not from around here. He's like, there's only one way to do a crab cake. You do this and that and that, and that's a crab cake. And I'm like, stop with yourself, man. Don't come on now. There's a million ways to do this. One thing is very controversial for me, and you don't do it here, but when they put pimento or a little pepper in a crab cake, like more like a crab imperial sort of recipe, I'm not against that. And that's controversial. Some people say it doesn't belong in a crab cake. Do you making a funny face or no?
I just have, I'm so crab caked out, like eating them. I don't even know what I would enjoy. I number one, Koco's crab cakes. I'm biased.
It's the only way you eat it.
I'm biased.
It's the only way you eat it.
So like peppers, I wouldn't turn my nose up, but I wouldn't go out of my way to make it that way. I just don't think it's necessary.
I mean, I see all the different orders that people are always putting in, and I get a lot of unusual requests. Some of them are more unusual than others. But, I mean, when they're like, should I have this with cocktail or tartar sauce? And I say, well, it's up to you. I would suggest having it without it first because it's literally
Your
that
crab
good.
cake does not need any cocktail sauce.
But okay.
It certainly doesn't need any tartar.
All right, but that's your...
There's not a crab cake in the world that needs tartar.
See, but now you're acting like that guy. There's only one way to eat a crab cake. And
I did
people
30
like
crab cakes in 30
complimentary-
days 2 summers ago, not knowing anything. I got in my car, I drove across the bridge, and I identified places on the internet that, like your place, and people yelled at me about your crab cakes long before I ever came in here to have it or whatever. When I started having crab cakes and stuff, people, you got to go to Koco's. Mayor, when he was the city councilman, you got to go to Koco's, and he becomes a mayor, he's here. So, I don't need to sell your crab cake is unique, sweet, delicious, big, always fresh because you're like freshly making them here. But your crab cake's your crab cake. I've had some awful concoctions. I mean, I've had stuff. I told the story last week. I hate to admit this, I was in Montgomery County, not for long. All right, I was just going through, and I got a crab cake at a place that came recommended, and it's a place. I'm never going to out it, but if you look, it was in a market in the really Tony Rich area, really Daniel Snyder's neighborhood. All right,
Okay.
So Potomac, okay. Go in this joint on a recommendation. There's a sign up. We ship our crab cakes. I'm like, great. It's a bit of a deli, like a really upscale, like deli kind of foods, pre-prepared foods and stuff. And everything looked great. Wine, crackers, cheese, all sorts of imported meats, stuff. And I'm like, all right, I'll take 2 crab cakes. And we were on our way to see Styx and a couple bands down at that hellhole in Manassas. So getting down there, awful. But so we get down there, and I got the bag of crab cakes, and we had beer in the cooler, and we had chairs, tailgate, get it all out. Beautiful night, summer was August. And my wife likes videotaping me eating the crab cake to, like, get my reaction. She got the camera on me, and I'm sitting there with a plastic fork out in the middle of the parking lot in Manassas. And I took a bite, and I crunched. Like, I'm picking at it because I'm always trying to see if it's got celery, like what's in it, what's the slurry, some dry mustard. I'm trying to figure things out from the flavor profile. And I ate it, and she's like, you're making a funny face. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't recognize it right away. Let me have another bite. So I have another bite. And I crunched again. I pulled it out. It was a chunk of celery, like a green, like a little piece of celery. And I looked at it, and I'm like, and I said to her, taste this. What is it? She started tasting. She's like, it's like familiar. They took chicken salad like what you would make chicken salad. They took this chicken salad, whatever the slurry is in chicken salad, and celery that you would use in chicken salad, and they took your beautiful crab meat and put it in with chicken salad recipe. I mean, I've seen some ish. I'm from Dundalk. I admit, I've never seen that since, and I never want to see it again. And that's probably the reason I'm not going to Montgomery County. But they ship these crab cakes, and they say that they're like Maryland crab cakes. And I'm like,
I mean, to a person in Florida, it might be more of a Maryland crab cake than what they're used to.
So,
but
O'Bricky's is a place, right? They have their thing at the airport. I had never eaten at O'Bricky's in my life, right? Marcelo, you East Baltimore. You probably went to O'Bricky's a million years ago, right? Famous as famous could be, right? Like a very famous crab house. And I went there for the first time and the only time in my life because they don't exist anymore. It's a different place. And we may have a crab cake tour over there. But I went in with Ken and Meg, Kenny Ballgame, in 2005, 6. Lived downtown, hot day, we walked. We walked over. It was right off Broadway between the Butcher's Hill, between the park and Broadway. Famous, stained glass window, beautiful, beautiful building, beautiful. And I went in, and we got crabs. And I'd heard all the ball players would always say, I get my crabs at traveling, guys not from here. And they'd say, I get my crabs at O'Bricky's. I'm like, they must be good. I've been hearing about them for 30 years. And I went in, and I ordered the crabs, and the crabs came on the table, and I looked at them. And I'm like, the hell are they? And I ate them, and they were fine. But they didn't use, I don't want to say Old Bay or J.O. I don't know what you use or how much. You don't use a whole lot of it because your crabs aren't salty forward. They're sweet forward, right? They use white pepper on their crabs. They delivered me crabs that I ate, and my fingers didn't smell like crabs. When I was done eating them, my fingers smelled like I had eaten French fries. And I was like, this is the strange. It wasn't bad. It was like pepper. They were peppery. They were hot, spicy peppery, like Chinese pepper, white pepper, like what you would put in egg drop soup. And this is what they put on their crabs. And everybody loved it. And still do. But it's not like any other crab house I've ever been to in my life.
Well, if you have your mindset on what you're about to eat and then it comes out in a totally different way, it's like the difference between thinking you're about to drink a glass of milk and it's orange juice.
Or Pepsi. Or wine or something you're just not ready
right.
for. So how do you describe your crab cake? I say sweet is what I say.
I say sweet
It's a sweet
too.
slurry.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more on the sweet side. I mean, that's honestly more of a question for her because she actually has a better idea. All I know is that I really enjoy the texture. Every now and then you will occasionally bump into a shell, but that
means it came from a crab.
That means it's fresh. It's actually a good quality, source that we're getting it. So I appreciate the texture. I like that it's not overly seasoned. Because then if I wanted to add a little bit more, I could. But like if it's too seasoned, then I'm going to
I've had a lot of over-seasoned crab cakes on my tour.
Yeah.
I've had people trying a little too hard. And a lot of places, like Andrew Zimmern is right. The crab does the talking. For your crab cake, it leads with the crab.
I think that's our point is that we spend a lot of time, our morning people who get the crab meat in, spend a lot of time picking out the best crab meat we can possibly get. We want that flavor to come out. The other seasoning, the other stuff that we use, that's complimentary. That's just to bring out that flavor of the crab meat more and complement it.
And
the forefront is the crab meat.
Right,
like
and the same goes for the fries and the coleslaw that is brought out in the platter. I mean,
we don't overdo it.
Exactly.
And your crab cake's not real wet either. It's more along the dry. Like I would say, like I call it a country club crab cake. That's my designation for it because I think it all started at the Pimlico Hotel. So your recipe is along that line of a sweet side.
I would say original crab cake, it's typically more moist. It's typically a wet crab cake, and it's depending on the crab meat that we get in that time of year, just sucks that moisture up sometimes, so they can tend to be on the drier side. Our goal is actually to make them a bit more juicy.
Moist. Mm-hmm. All right. Liz is here. SeaBass is here. They're brother and sister. They don't fight on my air, but they fight in the real world. I took the mallet away from her. Best way to order, just advice for people if they want to come here at 7 o'clock on a Saturday night. It's a little more difficult, right? Just from a seating perspective, to plan ahead when you're coming to Koco's.
Plan ahead.
Because you're only so big, and you're really freaking popular. I mean, really.
I mean, if you're coming on the weekend, you definitely want to anticipate that at the very least we're busy, we're packed, that carry-out might be absolutely chock full of orders already. So don't wait till the last minute. That's really going to hurt you in the long run, and we don't want to get anybody in a bind with their family where it's like they're supposed to be picking up food, but we waited too long. We don't want to see that happen.
Curbsided. We're at Koco. It's all brought to you by the Maryland Lottery. Well, a scratch off for you. Scratch off for you. Roz is coming in. Alternate Taste stopping by. We're going to talk some music. We're going to talk some lottery. I thought Greg was going to be here talking Oriole baseball and Ravens, but he's not. I got the A team. It's all right. Roz is here. We're back for more from Koco's. It's Baltimore Positive. Get on over here and get some coconut shrimp with a K.